Okay, I see opportunity, respect, dignity, fairness. Thank you for the questions. We can give 1 more minute for these. Thank you for all your responses. One that really stood out to me was I like inclusiveness to make sure that we're in a diverse and inclusive community so we can have opportunity and fairness and pretty much all your ideas that you shared in the chat. Thank you so much for participating. And now we can hand it over to Sugar. Please take us away.
Thank you, Anna Sophia, and thanks everyone for your active participation. I do agree with all these words are very important in the equality, and if any of them is missing, then it's hard to reach our equality. To begin with, I would like to give you information, has the background information about the situation in Armenia, gender equality in Armenia. And I listed several main topics that I would like to touch upon, and one of them is gender wage gap. So the gender wage gap in Armenia, it remains significant. So with women earning on average about 39.2% less than men in 2022. So women receive only 70% of the hourly wage paid to men in the same occupation, and this disparity has remained relatively unchanged since 2018. So since then, nothing has changed in Armenia. For the second one, when we have representation in politics, things are very different here. So as of December 2024, women hold 38.3% of the seats in Armenian National Assembly, and this is a significant increase from 18% in 2017. This progress is largely due to gender quotas, which required at least 30% female representation in parliament by 2020. That's why we have a rise over there. Also, women's participation in the executive branch has improved. So 36% of ministerial positions is held by women, which is an increase from 8.3% in previous years. Regarding the third one, education, so I would say education is a value in Armenia, and that's why Armenia has high literacy rates. Everyone, like it is expected by the society that everyone will have a school degree, definitely graduate the high school, and also have a college, either vocational college degree or university degree. So that's why 99.7% of women is literate, so they are educated. And though they are literate, people get their education. However, there are a lot of challenges, especially when women are coming from rural areas, when we have transportation issues, when infrastructure is not good, when they don't have money to make sure the children get to the school. There are still challenges like that. However, most of them get education because community is there, community is helping each other. The fourth one is gender-based violence. This is unfortunately remains a serious issue in Armenia. 4.6% of women who are 15 to 49 years old, so they reported physical or sexual abuse, violence by a partner in the past year. And though this is lower rate compared to the global average, which is about 27%, however, it's an issue because like domestic violence cases have risen sharply from 960 in 2022 to 1,848 in 2023, which means like it doubled. So one good thing is like people started to report about that. Maybe previously people didn't report it about it. That's why we didn't have enough numbers. Now they feel comfortable to report, and they find this organization, these safe places where they can report, but the situation is bad in a sense like the number is growing instead of like reducing. The fifth one is employment. According to International Labor Organization, women's labor force participation in Armenia has consistently been lower than men's. So in 2011, the participation rate was 58.8% for women and 69.6% for men. Recent data, the data of 2021, shows that the participation rate was 65.7% for women, which is still less than men's rate in 2011. So there is a growth, but the number is still like not high enough, and it's very typical, especially post-Soviet in post-Soviet countries. The next one is the sixth, child poverty, which is another important issue with the child poverty. In 2017, so the data that I took from UNICEF, the data is from 2017, the child poverty rate in that data showed 34.2%, and extreme poverty was 2%. And the 2023 reports highlight that there is a multi-dimensional poverty in the country, and 64% of the children experience deprivation. They don't have access to education, healthcare, adequate living conditions, or with the excess there are a lot of challenges. While 70% of young children lack pre-primary education access, which is very important, it's very foundational for their future development. Another important area is digital gender divide. So I would say Armenia is a very patriotical country, and there's also a huge hierarchy. The first is the boy, the son is very important. The girl is also important, but on the first level is like the boy, the son. So there is a digital gender gap in Armenia, in a sense that women have less access to digital technologies, and which means like they are even have less digital literacy compared to men. And this digital gap hinders women access to information, like quality information, economic opportunities, and even participating in the digital economy, because the family, when they prioritize their son, first they get the digital devices for their son, and when they have enough money, then they will do it also for their girls. So that's why it's a challenge over there. And the last one is reproductive health. So access to reproductive health services, including family planning, maternal health services, it kind of remains concerned in Armenia. The United Nations Population Fund notes that there are disparities in access to reproductive health services, particularly for women who are coming from rural areas. This is very important. So the statistics show that gender equality and women's empowerment in Armenia are multifaceted challenges, and to solve these problems, we need to work on several fronts, like changing laws, creating policies, creating programs or youth initiatives or interventions that have been proven like they are working, raising awareness, improving education and healthcare, and we are taking our own steps to support these goals and contribute to kind of overcome these problems, this situation, as well as achieve several SDGs that we highlight in our organization. Anna Sofia Jan, can you change the slide? Thank you. So while the video is playing, this is a short video about the organization, and I would like to highlight the fact that Norluis, the full name is Norluis Mentoring Center for Youth Organization, is the first and only mentoring organization in my city, Kimri, Armenia, working with adults and girls from orphanages, socially vulnerable families, also with girls who are coming from displaced families due to recent war. So we recruit 13 to 16 years old girls to provide them with mentoring relationships, skill building, career planning skills, and scholarships to pursue a college degree. So it's a three-phase program that promotes empowerment and the opportunity for girls to reach their full potential. So the girls in our organization, girls are not only provided with a safe space to share their challenges and gain emotional well-being, but they are also provided with support to feel empowered to bring social and economical changes both in their communities and throughout the country, as well as build a community of strong, thoughtful, creative young women who can be the future of Armenia and bring a lot of changes. Let's go to the next slide, please. On this slide, you will be able to find the logic model of the organization, how we see the change and how we are incorporating the change. So the research, before I started the organization, I conducted a lot of research I spent 4 months just doing the research to understand what's working, what's not, and what is important. And the research shows that children who receive any type of support tend to be more emotionally stable. And we are aiming to reach this emotional stability for our girls through our program. When a person is emotionally stable, she can have career, financial, and educational success. So we not only recognize the link, but we address this, the link between these aspects. We also address this link. And moreover, the most important, like this emotional stability should be received with a stable relationship, which we tend to provide through our stable mentoring relationship. Moreover, the research shows that adolescents who receive life skills, soft skills, they tend to exhibit positive self-esteem and self-confidence. So those are very important, especially for teenagers. And to support, to further support the growth within the girls, as well as promote future prosperity, we provide them with scholarships to pursue a college degree. And that's why we have all these 3 phases. And the scholarship that we provide is only for 1 year. However, we put them in touch with other organizations that provide scholarships so that the girls can secure full funding throughout the years that they are in the university. Anna Sophia Jan, let's go to the next slide, please. So in this first slide, you will be able to find information about each phase of the organization. As I mentioned, it's a 3-phase program. The first phase is mentoring, the second phase is skill building, and the third phase is higher education. So first phase, we seek to connect mentees who are 13 to 16 years old with mature mentors who need to be 19 years old and above, with the goal of supporting their dreams. So this phase seeks to help the girls through problems relevant to their lives and most importantly, their teenage years. The program starts in September. So beginning every September, a new group of mentors and mentees start the phase, and it lasts approximately 11 months. Throughout this phase, mentees learn to focus on themselves and their emotional stability. Once this goal achieved, they move on to creating new goals and aspirations for their future. In this phase, mentees are being provided with 8 hours of individual services and 4 hours of group services throughout 1 month. Anna Sophia Jan, let's go to the next slide, which is second phase. It's skill building phase. We provide the girls, in this phase, we provide the girls with skills such as resume writing, career planning, research, like how to conduct a research, computer skills. The participants must complete phase 1 to be able to move on to phase 2. And in phase, we also focus on expanding the mentees' world perspective by engaging in local volunteers and cultural meetings. In this phase, the girls are being provided with 8 hours of monthly group services and with an opportunity to visit universities that allow them to explore the existing opportunities upon which they can build their career plans. Let's move on to the next slide, which is our third phase, the higher education phase. So this phase provides all mentees with scholarships to attend higher education, along with financial planning, networking, and management training. The mentees must have completed like previous 2 phases to be able to move on to the third phase. And here, in this phase, we seek to ultimately prepare participants for financial independence and also, of course, finding a job. So those participants who enter vocational schools or universities, they apply to us to receive funds, and after signing a contract which outlines what is expected for them to do, for example, conducting certain hours of volunteer work, eh, um, then we proceed like organizing this change, covering their tuition fee. In this phase, the participants also are provided with a minimum of 2 hours of group services. And we also motivate them to participate in workshops and other events to represent the organization and, of course, or to kind of practice their uh, communication skills, negotiation skills, networking skills. Let's move on to the next slide, please. So the girls participate in the various events, and we have this one month which is about like debate. It's before starting going into a debate, the girls understand like what is debate, how it looks like, how it is conducted, and the one. So first, we kind of have a sign-up sheet where they apply to become a debate member. Then they go through a training, and then we have actual debate. And every year we choose themes based on the UN priority themes. So this year the debate theme at Norluis was intergenerational cooperation can solve social inequalities. So this theme allowed the girls to explore how collaboration between different generations can address and reduce social disparities, particularly in areas such as gender equality, economic empowerment, and political representation. So the debate examined whether bridging generational gaps through mentorship, shared experiences, and collective action can lead to sustainable solutions for social inequality and gender-based challenges. And so when the girls are engaged in this type of debate, they do a lot of research, they learn a lot of things. So, and of course, at the end, we do debrief, and we also have a kind of a focus group after that to understand what they learned and why, what they want to see as a change in the future debate. And some of the girls, like here, you can see like some in the bullet points, I provided information what the girls really learned. And they said that intergenerational cooperation fosters knowledge sharing, mentorship, and collective action, which addresses gender inequalities. This is cruel. This is very crucial for achieving sustainable progress. They also highlighted that addressing social inequality is important. That's also one of the things they learned because it allows to find long-term solutions to problems like economic unfairness, lack of political representation, or discrimination based on gender. Another important topic they highlighted was youth and women empowerment, and they mentioned they said that through debate and leadership initiatives, they could build. They felt that they built their self confidence, which allows them to, in the future to be kind of to advocate for themselves or advocate for their peers or know how to make the right decision. And another lessons learned that they mentioned was education and critical thinking. They said that through these debate experiences, through debate, they developed, not only learned a lot of new information, but they also developed critical thinking, which is very important for challenging discriminatory norms and policies. Um, this is all about the organization. Anna Sofia Jan, can you go forward to the next? And here, because we work through different sustainable development goals, and I would pass the voice to one of our representatives who is going to present in depth which sustainable development goals we are tackling.
Hi, so now we're going to discuss a bit about the Sustainable Development Goals in connection to Norluz and how we're able to achieve that. So after receiving our ECOSOC status, we have been working very diligently to in various directions to meet our SDGs that I will talk in more detail about how we're achieving that. This slide, sorry, could you go to the next slide? This slide here displays the multi-level engagement Norluz has in realizing the SDGs. At the biosphere level, we work to effectively address climate change through educating individuals. We work, in this case, our mentees and adolescent girls. We believe that change starts within each of us. And when we have an educated generation, things really start to just change within themselves when we recognize the primitive issue climate change has on shaping the world and our environment. That with this knowledge, they will be able to pay it forward whenever they have the opportunity to. At the society base, this is something that really connects the bridges to the other levels and the other SDGs that really directly is something Norluz focuses on. So going into more detail about this, Norluz supports SDG number 4, quality education, through several initiatives. The organization directly engages with nearby universities, offering mentees the opportunity to explore education in their foreseeable future. These outreach programs provide a platform for mentees to really ask questions, to really understand the opportunities that are available to them. This allows them to witness firsthand the importance of quality education. Additionally, Norluz secures our mentees with scholarships for them to not have any financial barriers when it comes to pursuing higher education, if that is, the goal and the route that they want to go on. So next, Norluz mission aligns with the SDG number 5, gender equality. By empowering adolescent girls through mentorship, recognizing the unique challenges young women face in the socioeconomic sphere, the organization fosters personal and professional growth to equip mentees with confidence and skills necessary to support them into adulthood. At the level of the economy, we target SDG 10, reduce inequalities. Through empowering our girls to pursue degrees in various areas, they can strengthen their knowledge and skills that are in fields that are typically male-dominated. Norluz plays a crucial role in bridging the opportunity gap for young girls primarily from disadvantaged backgrounds. Through mentorship and skills building programs, Norluz helps develop self-confidence, leadership, career aspirations, and emotional intelligence to ensure no one is left behind due to any economic or social constraints. To be able to work in these 3 levels, the partnerships between the local and mechanically intertwined with our work makes it really possible to reach both goals of the organization connected to the SDGs. This way we can really have our own impact on the world. Okay, so going more into this partnership with Lehigh University, we have been with a partnership with them for 4 years through the Youth Representative Program. This program matches UN accredited NGOs such as Norluz with high achieving students who serve as the NGO's voices at the United Nations and other forums. It is one of the world's first United Nations youth representative programs. In this work, youth representatives from Norluz meet with global decision makers, participate in international conferences, and moderate briefings broadcasts worldwide. We speak on this floor on the General Assembly, giving Norluz a voice to amplify their mission and a chance to really advocate for girls and young females in Armenia. This partnership is significantly important because it provides a platform for people to become more informed about Norluz and the important work that they're doing. So including the resources available to them, they can really galvanize others across the world to learn more about gender equality in their own country. This collaboration occurs within the framework of SDG 17, partnerships and goals. Additionally, it directly impacts SDG 4, quality education, SDG 5, gender equality, and SDG 10, reduce inequalities, which are our main goals at Norluz. So a few examples of Norluz and Lehigh's collaboration. It directly impacts the theme of CSW 68, which is accelerating the achievement of gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls by addressing poverty and strengthening institutions and financing with a gender perspective. First, this collaboration really increases the meaning of Norlus to participate in different platforms and increases advocacy efforts. This is increasing awareness about girls and young females that are primarily vulnerable in Armenia, and how Norlus is also working to actively engage gender equality within the context of poverty and inequality through its comprehensive program aimed at empowering young girls and female adolescents by facilitating access to higher education and promoting financial literacy among vulnerable populations. Secondly, this partnership provides young students with the opportunity to engage in advocacy and representation of groups in vulnerable situations and internal forums, such as the United Nations. Through this collaboration, Northern Lehigh University provides the necessary resources to students who would not otherwise really know about this important work that's going on, and or may have had similar experiences because of their socioeconomic background. In conclusion, this partnership, aside from positively impacting the achievements of the SDGs, it helps Norlus have the highest impact in its work with girls and young female adolescents, breaking the poverty cycle for them by ensuring that they have quality education. This also increases awareness about the issue, especially in internal platforms among students at the university. This helps initiate conversations about poverty and how it affects girls and young female adolescents, and collaborating to find sustainable solutions for these problems. The most recent example that Norlus has is within the youth representatives framework of the CSW 68, which is ongoing. Thanks to this partnership between Lehigh University, Norlus and I, as a youth representative, engaged in dialogue around this priority theme with youth representatives from member states and a broad range of stakeholders, such as government representatives, relevant United Nations bodies, and other NGOs. Here we discuss the need to prioritize gender responsive approaches and poverty reduction, particularly focusing on the challenges faced by girls and young women. This partnership gave a voice for Norlus and allowed to advocate for better education for girls and female adolescents, to eradicate poverty and advance gender equality, for an education that closes gender gaps and leaves no girl or female adolescent behind. On an occasion, a former Norlus representative student addresses the president of the General Assembly and advocated for policymakers to genuinely listen and incorporate the suggestions of youth, which is so important to really just advance our goals.
Thank you, Risha. So to speak a little bit more about the campus involvement Norlus has in Lehigh University, it is definitely one of the areas that Norlus is actively trying to work on. For instance, an event where all NGOs that are partners with our school participate in a tabling event on the United Nations Day, in which we share information about our organization to interested students. However, this event is more than just an informational session. It is also an invitation to students to broaden their perspective and take a global view of pressing social issues, particularly those that impact women and marginalized communities, which is what we're focusing on. At the core of our participation, it is also the conversation around gender equity in Armenia, a topic that is not only vital to our mission, but also a very, very powerful point of reflection for the students in our campus. We believe that it is crucial to spark discussions that connect our students with real world issues, particularly those that may not be necessarily on the radar. By addressing gender equity in Armenia, we not only shed light on challenges faced by women in different cultural and geographical contexts, but we ultimately also encourage students to think about gender equity as a universal challenge that transcends borders. Additionally, as a team, aside from promoting our organization on an internal level, we want to bring the same values of female empowerment, both in a professional and personal setting, in similar workshops and discussion-based events. We believe that this is the best strategy to not only bring further awareness of Norlus as an NGO on campus, but also as a unique way to explore and present our values to a different audience, and to offer students valuable tools and insights that can help them navigate their professional and personal lives. Last year, we hosted our first event, Empower Her, Embracing Self-Care. Among the participants, we discussed different forms of self-care and we reflected its role in our lives and how we can ultimately keep bettering ourselves. These topics not only reflect the core values of our organization, but they also align with the experiences and challenges that many students encounter as they work towards their goals. Through these events, we aim to spark conversations that promote resilience, solidarity, and empowerment for everyone, whether they're navigating university life or preparing for their futures. Our vision is to continue hosting these types of events regularly, and in doing so, strengthening our connection with the students, fostering a sense of community, as well as with different organizations on campus that not necessarily go with the same mission. For example, we paired up with Lehigh Arts and Crafts, which is very different, but we did a very fun event called Chalk and Talk, and we discussed different relevant topics while making crafts and forming connections with peers. And this time we did air dry clay, so that was very interesting. And we overall incorporated concepts of gender equity and promoted a larger discussion about it with Lehigh students. When it comes to being a United Nations Youth Representative and its role, I would say it's definitely nothing short of profoundly meaningful. It is an experience that offers a wide range of opportunities that not only enhance our professional lives, but also help us grow personally in ways we could have never imagined. At the heart of this role, we gain unique access to the events of the United Nations, like some examples that Risha shared before, where we have the chance to engage with some of the most pressing issues facing our world today. These events provide an extraordinary platform to network with international leaders, policymakers, activists, and overall other very passionate individuals who are just as committed as we are to creating positive social change. This role is invaluable in terms of developing leadership and public speaking skills. By participating in high stakes discussion and presenting our views on complex global issues in events such as this one, we learn how to communicate effectively, how to lead with confidence, and overall how to build the kind of networks that are vital for creating real impact. Whether we're presenting at the United Nations, collaborating with fellow youth representatives, or engaging in discussions with organizations from all corners of the globe, we are constantly developing the tools that will allow us to become leaders in our own communities and eventually on the world stage. However, perhaps, in my opinion, the most important aspect of this role is the great opportunity it provides for personal growth. The United Nations is a global body that brings together a very vast range of voices, perspectives, and experiences. They really do expose us to the complexities of social justice issues across different regions of the world. As youth reps, we're not only given the chance to contribute our own voices, but also to listen and to learn from other representatives of different NGOs who are addressing social challenges in their own countries. Through these exchanges, we gain a deeper understanding of the human condition and the diverse struggles faced by people worldwide, all while learning the power of collaboration and finding sustainable solutions. For us, serving as a youth representative is especially impactful when it comes to gender equity and female empowerment. It provides a space where we can amplify the voices of women from different walks of life, hear their stories, and overall champion their rights. Being involved in these discussions makes us acutely aware of the disparities in society, especially those affecting women and marginalized communities around the world. These disparities can take many forms, whether in access to education, economic opportunities, healthcare, or political representation. But no matter the issue, they all share the same root cause, inequality, which is what we focus on. And overall, I know I can speak for all of us when we say that we are extremely thankful for this unique opportunity and that we are very excited to keep working and helping Norluz in any way we can.
So through providing informal learning experiences, focus on women empowerment, Norluz can work towards eliminating gender disparities and motivate young girls with the help of their mentors to feel inspired to try new fields of career, continue their education, and constantly build their own career paths. Aligning with UN Sustainable Development Goals 4, quality education, 5, gender equality, and 10, reduce inequalities. As Norluce continues to provide programming to promote youth growth within these SDG missions, a stronger global viewpoint is instilled within the mentees, leading them to emerge from the program ready to assume an active role in their local and global communities. Embodying the fundamental values of global citizenship and lifelong learning, with the knowledge from this study and the future studies on the exploration of self-efficiency, interest, and choice goals, Norluce has the opportunity to expand and evolve its own program as well as continue to educate itself and others throughout the local and internal communities on how mentoring is best able to address the pressing issues we see today. Young girls from vulnerable backgrounds face and the best able to empower the girls to lead self-efficient lives and impact the future by achieving their future academic and career goals. I would like to thank you all for being with us today, and I hope you gained a lot of information and insight through the model of the SDG goals and Norluce's mission.
So everyone, we're more than willing to take some questions. You can keep putting questions in the chat. We have gotten some already, but please feel free to keep asking them. So the first question that we got was, how can intergenerational cooperation in Armenia help address gender inequality and economic disparities? Sugar, do you have any information on that?
Thank you, Anna Sophia. That's a very good topic, especially we also discussed that during our debrief with the debate group. In Armenia, I would say different generations working together can help reduce gender inequality and economic struggles. So older generation, they can share their knowledge, experience, and advice, while younger generations, they bring new ideas, technological skills, fresh ways of thinking. So this is very important. That's why we need to have a teamwork there, a team conversation. And this teamwork can help women succeed in education, careers, and of course, leadership. So I think it's important and I think it's doable. That's what we also try to bring when we invite all these well-known Armenians to come and have a conversation with our girls. So yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Sugar. So we have an additional question. Oh, yes, go ahead. You can.
Hi, can you hear me? Okay. First of all, thank you very much for your explanation. Second, thank you very much for your time. And the question is, do you have like any program or connection with Latin American girls or entities? Because I'm from Ecuador and we work like a lot to improve and develop opportunities for youth people, especially with girls and children. So if you had like any opportunity or something like that, it's an honor to hear you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eduardo, for the question. To be honest, we are working in Armenia, and Armenia is very homogeneous. They are all Armenians. And the another cooperation is with Lehigh University and UN. That's the only main cooperation we have. Unfortunately, we don't have any cooperation in Ecuador or any other Latin American countries. But I am willing to share the model, what we are doing. So if you decide you want to organize something like this, just at the end, we will have the our social media page. You can follow us through the social media, draft a message, send a message there, and the message will definitely get back to me. And I would love to share any ideas I have or the model of the organization. Maybe you will be able to start something like that over there. Thanks for the question.
Thank you very much.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Olivia, you have a question?
Yes. First of all, good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to discuss about gender inequalities. I am just wondering, how can a 13-year-old girl like me help to address or accomplishing the elimination of all of these gender equalities around the world?
Thank you, Olivia, for the question. This is very huge question. We can spend one whole day talking about like different ways, how we can challenge, how we can reduce the inequalities. We need to understand where the inequalities are coming from. And mostly, if you look into the country that you are representing, wherever you live in your community, look into the values, norms, behaviors and practices of your community members, and you will see what's happening, how people are accepting gender, and how the gender inequality is kind of playing out in these settings. Because if we want to bring a change, we need to start either from top or from the bottom part is like working with the community. When working with the community, we need to tackle these norms and values, but we need also to be careful here because, for example, we are very conservative in our culture. I need to be very cautious, mindful about what am I doing, what values I'm bringing there. For me, it's about empowering women, empowering young girls to be able to advocate for themselves and bring a change that is accepted by everyone. And the change is that you help the girls to stand up and bring a change, like develop the community, develop the economy, getting education. So those are the values that are not harmful and it's accepted by everyone. And so the background setting, like the cultural norms, are important to study very well. Look into the cultural norms and values. So what's happening over there, and start taking some steps that will kind of slowly tackle all these bad norms, because not all the norms and values are bad. There are some norms which are good and they are very important to have in the culture in our society. So get the ones that are creating these inequalities and start slowly bring up conversation. Like if you talk about the issue, people haven't thought about that. If they haven't thought about that, you start discussion, then they will come up with new solutions. Maybe they will say, oh, we didn't know it's a problem, or it will cause a problem for girls because it's not causing a problem for men. So these kind of discussions allows people to think and understand what is the problem, what kind of solutions we can bring, or maybe there are other interventions that we can bring and incorporate to bring a change. So it was to kind of summarize, look into the norms and values of the culture, get the the negative norms and values, start discussion. That slowly you can build on that.
Yes, definitely. And also, just to add on to that, I remember when I was 13 and I was very, very interested in all of these topics too. And I remember one of the ways that I wanted to have like a tangible involvement, quote unquote. I remember I grew up in Peru, so I would look up at different organizations.
Ecosystems are individual actions that individuals can do, but there kinds of needs to be a comprehensive.
Sorry. So I would look at different organizations, and a lot of them took volunteers, whether it's from helping women shelters or, like Sugar said, just starting conversations. Every single action really counts. And overall, the more experiences that you do, the more activities that you do, you can have a more comprehensive view on what ways you want to tackle gender equity, right? Because you can do, for example, what Risha and I do, we can do it from a university standpoint and do it on campus, but you can also join an amazing organization and do work yourself. So I would say you're super young, but you're at a perfect age to just explore new things and really see what you're truly passionate about, and then definitely take action on it. But congratulations for just joining this session, and just learning more about it is already a huge step. So congratulations. We can take the next question. Bona Jacobs, you can go ahead, write it in the chat, or open the mic.
Good day.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, my name is Bona Jacobs. I was working at one of the organizations back in Botswana. I'm from Botswana, Africa, and we were also mentoring young girls, AGYWs, adolescents, young girls and young women. So there were girls that we were mentoring, and along the way they left the groups. I wanted to ask what you guys do to those girls that need help. You see that this girl needs help, but the girl decides to leave the group. So what do you guys do to bring her on board?
Yeah, Ovana, thank you so much for the question. It's really a challenge. There are a lot of girls who may just leave the program, they leave it half done, or maybe they will finish a phase and then they will leave. There are people like that. So first we started the conversation. We try to understand what's happening, what is the main problem that the girl doesn't want to continue. Is it because the match with the mentor didn't work? Is it because she can't afford her transportation? Is it because she has other commitments? Is it because like she has to take, I don't know, exams, or her family is moving to a different city? That's why they can't participate in the program. First, have a conversation, understand what's happening, and then kind of try to see how you can meet with her in kind of halfway. So, for example, most of our girls, like the girls who leave the program, is either they have transportation issues. We covered. That's why we provide them with we cover their transportation expenses. Some girls leave when they are going to graduate the school. So because of the state exams, they don't manage their time because they are kind of taking tutor classes. So which is a kind of a sign to us that okay, these age girls, this is what typically happens with them. So we tell them you graduate the second phase, and the third phase she started and she can't finish it. So we tell her take a pause, get 1 year off, and after 1 year, when you're done with your exams and other life commitments, come back. We will always take you. But we never take back the girls who left one of the phases half done. So they need to finish one phase to be able to leave the program with an opportunity to come back. But again, like you need to have a conversation. Also, there's a case there are several, but like very few cases when the person wasn't ready for a change. So in that case, you can't do a lot of things. If the person say like I just don't want because I don't see a kind of, I wouldn't say a value, but she doesn't see a meaning in joining the program, then you just have to let the person go until she will get to that mindset. Oh, there is actually something that I can take from this program. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for your response. We have another question from the audience. Sion Kebede, sorry if I mispronounced your name, but you can go ahead.
Kabeta, yes. Thank you. I'd like to echo the last person's gratitude. Thank you guys for being here. I've taken a lot away. My question is when you're kind of not done, but after you finish the meat of the work that you do with these women, one, is there any follow-up like years down the line you'd say? And then also, what's sort of like the biggest impact you've made on these women's lives?
So we have when the 3 phases, which means like 3 years, the girls have been with us. They graduate, they join the alumni group. For alumni groups, we have meetings. Like we have 2 meetings per year, which makes them coming back and like keep being connected with the organization. When all these girls are 19 years old, we turn to them to come back as a mentor. So currently we have a lot of mentors among our volunteers who used to be a mentee several years ago. And moreover, there is an opportunity in the organization to be hired, like to get a job. So currently we have 2 mentees who are working for the organization. And next year we will be able to hire 3 more mentees who are kind of right now they are mentors because they finished all the phases. They came back to volunteer and they came back to volunteer as a mentor. So now they can join the staff as a staff member. And so that's the way we kind of bring them back to us. And we always do follow-ups. Like every year, we have mentees from 2010. So we just send them a message trying to understand where they are, what they are doing, how they are doing. Is there anything we can support them, or is there something they would like to share with us? And last year, there was this one mentee from 2013. She came back with her younger sister. She said, like, I really want her to join here. to join the program, which talks about the fact that which validates that program is really working and people value it. And the big outcome is that most of our girls, all of them first graded high schools. Then 90% of them, most of them, get a degree. It can be bachelor's, it can be like a vocational college degree. And I have also mentees who even did 2 masters. So they graduated 1 master and then they decided they can continue and do the second master. So which talks about the fact that education is being not only valued in the culture, but also kind of reinforced by us with the support of providing all these scholarships. And this indicates that if the girl has an opportunity to have an access to higher education, they will keep working on themselves. They will keep striving. They will keep developing and improving their knowledge and skills and everything. And also all our girls who ever graduated, all of them have a job. Most of them in their professional, but there are some girls who don't work in their professional, in the degree that they got, but they found a job. So all of them have a job, so which is very important. But for us as a KPI, we have getting a university degree. Because for me, women are the main caregivers, especially when they have children. So I want them to be educated so that the next generation will be educated because they are going to bring up their own children.
Thank you so much. Do you guys have like a social media handle we can follow?
Definitely. On the last page, Anna Sofia, can you share the screen?
Yeah, sure. I can start putting that slide. We have more
Thank
there,
you.
and yeah. Thank you for your question. We do have some others in the chat. Risha, what is the most transformative aspect about working with Norluz, and what lessons have you learned throughout this process?
Yeah, so I was actually going to piggyback off of what Sugar was speaking on about what is the most impact that, these mentees are experiencing that I think relates a lot to this question. I think a very transformative aspect that I learned while interning at Norluz was really, reading the thank you letters from the mentees to really hear about how sorry, my computer's about to die, but to hear about how this organization has really impacted them significantly, where they're looking towards Norluz as a second home. They've created these bonds with other women and strengthening their community, while also like having a lot of skills to pull from that will help them in their career fields and just into adulthood. So I think really witnessing this community in Armenia and how happy and joyful these girls are and just coming together was just super influential to like remind me of like my purpose and the impact that I can have on communities, which really made me get into this position with United Nations Youth Representative to really just echo the mission of Norluz to on a global scale for people to really understand that, like we can make change within our own communities from just, reaching out, facilitating discussions and showing up for our people, which I think is just, so important, just being there.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you for the question.
The next question is a question for me and Risha. How do you balance your work as a youth representative with your academic and personal life? So something that I'm really glad about the team that we have is that we had the amazing opportunity to go to Armenia last summer. So not only were we co-workers for a whole summer, but we also got to know each other personally. So aside from being a team, we're also friends and we are really there for each other. We really make up if anyone has a different activity to do or something very important, we make sure to be there for one another, and there's constant communication throughout the team. So overall, just handling all the responsibilities associated with the position it's really effective since we have such a supportive environment. And I would say just making sure that we handle and give enough time to each task to make sure that we do everything the way we're supposed to do it. But overall, I guess a big thank you to the team because you make this job a lot easier.
Yeah, honestly, echoing Anna Sophia, I think the bond that we created within each other, really just helps us get the work done and be passionate about what we're doing. And I think that really helps when it comes to like balancing everything, because at the end of the day, when we are, blocking out an hour of our time to be dedicated to this, we are present and we are there and we're, having these discussions that are important to have. But honestly, it is really hard to balance, work life, academics, and honestly, just making sure that what you're doing is something that you really care about is so important, because you're able to really be there and see the purpose of the work that you're doing and the impact it's having on the communities that you're serving. So, yeah, I think overall, I know Sophia answered it perfectly, but just communicating with everyone and, having, good energy when you're showing up in these spaces is important.
Yes, definitely. We have another question. What roles do partnerships with other organizations play in your campus involvement efforts? And also, are there any other events to look forward to on campus? I would say one of the biggest benefits of doing partnerships with organizations on campus is that we really spread awareness about the organization. A lot of people know us because of the United Nations Youth Representative, but it's really good to create partnerships with organizations such as the Arts and Crafts Club, which handles a whole different audience on campus. And we're still looking at different organizations such as the Women of Color Alliance, overall the Women's Network, or just different organizations that we can create very cool events in, because we will create just awareness of the organization and reach very different audiences beyond people that are interested in gender equity or global affairs, which is one of our biggest goals on making a huge impact on campus. And since the academic year for us is over, we currently don't have anything planned. The last event was actually last week, but we're always brainstorming for different events towards the academic year. We aim to host one annually, so we really do pay a lot of attention to that. So be on the lookout for the next presentation next year so you can find out what our next campus event is. Thank you for that question. And we have another one, which is, what is the SDG you believe the organization is the strongest in?
That's an interesting question. The strongest. Because I would say SDG 17, cooperation, because through cooperation you can reach all these other SDGs. Again, like for example, it's cooperation not only with Lehigh University and the UM, but also cooperation with the local schools, cooperation with the Ministry of Education, cooperation with other foundations and nonprofits organizations, or women development organizations, international women development organizations. So we do a lot of cooperation, which allows us successfully tackle all these other SDGs that we mentioned.
Amazing. Thank you for the response and for the question. And someone just sent us a follow-up to that question. Are there any other SDGs you wish to explore? Why or why not?
That's a good one. I think maybe the first SDG number 1, which is, if I'm not mistaken, is zero hunger. Because when someone is hungry, like no matter what the important, like how important the topic is, how important it is for their future, they won't be able to concentrate. They won't be able to do anything. And hunger, like a basic need, it's a basic need, yeah, to kind of eat. The food is basic need. So if you are not, if you don't meet is one of these basic needs, it will be hard to develop, like to go. I don't know whether you guys have heard about, maybe definitely you have heard about hierarchy of needs by Maslow, and the first one is like just basic needs, like having the food, having like shelter, feeling like the feeling of being safe. So if any of those needs are not met, then we wouldn't be able to bring any changes, because the person wouldn't be able to focus, to concentrate, wouldn't be able to be present at all the other meetings that you are organizing. So I think if I had the opportunity, had the money to kind of tackle that part also, that would be amazing.
Thank you so much for the question. And we have another one about SDGs. To what extent do you believe that the SDGs you are currently working with will impact the others?
Will impact the others. I think the SDGs that we are working on, like gender equality, the quality education, all these like SDG 10, 13, 17, will help improve other goals too. Like as I mentioned, when we promote gender equality and give equal education opportunities, it can also improve health, economic growth, and social stability. Educated girls are more likely to be healthy, contribute to the economy, and when we have reduced inequalities, it will help to create a better society where everyone has a kind of a chance to succeed, because we will be there to support each other. The solidarity will build right there.
Perfect. Thank you. Do we have any other final questions in the chat? If not, we wanted to thank you so much for joining us today. It's been such a pleasure to have you guys with us. Here is the contact information of ourselves and the organization. Please keep in touch and feel free to email us questions if you have any others. And thank you again for joining us today. We hope you have an amazing night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.